So in my experience, Blend Oud is a really high quality brand. I've actually reviewed a number of their other fragrances. If I remember, because I'm usually absent-minded, I will leave links to them down below. And what I've noticed is that their fragrances last a long time. The quality is really good, but they do have similarities to other more popular designer or niche fragrances. This one is no exception, and I'm also going to be letting you know what is different about this fragrance. I'm looking forward to giving you my thoughts on 7 Moons by Blend Oud, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I tell you about 7 Moons by Blend Oud, the quality, the notes, the performance, the smell, comparisons, all that good stuff, I want to start things off by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon and also click where it says enable all notifications. This way you don't miss any of my future uploads, and I upload on a daily basis. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if you simply learned something in today's episode. Would really mean a lot to me. So this is a house that has produced some really high quality fragrances. This one, for example, is about 6 years old. So this goes back to 2016. And this fragrance is definitely a darker oud, patchouli, labdanum, slightly spicy kind of a fragrance. There's sandalwood in here as well, but I'm getting more of that rose ingredient that's in here, and actually a bit of saffron. Saffron isn't listed in the note breakdown, at least not from what I saw online, but this fragrance actually reminds me a lot of Oud Ispahan by Christian Dior. Now, if you want to sample this fragrance, because obviously you don't have to buy a bottle, but if you want to get a sample of this fragrance, you may do so at maxaroma.com. You can also buy a bottle there. They are awesome people. I've been using them for a number of years now. I visited their warehouse. I've done events there. I know the people who work there. They're really, really great, down-to-earth people. Hamed especially is an amazing individual. So 7 Moons smells very similar to Oud Ispahan. It does kind of do its own thing though, and I've owned Oud Ispahan now for the past 9 years or so. I think I bought it 9 years ago. So huge fan of that fragrance, composed by Francois Demachy. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance. Let's start things off with the presentation. So right when this fragrance opened up, I said, wow, this smells familiar, right? And it's one of those smells where if you've smelled it once, you know what it is, right? I think Christian Dior, especially with their La Collection Privée line, which is what it used to be called, now it's Maison Dior, they have some really recognizable, really heavy-hitting aromas. Gris Montagne, that one has a very characteristic patchouli, sort of a rose vibe. This one, or the one that this one is kind of fashioned around, is also very, very good, right? And then you also have Bois d'Argent, which I've smelled many variations of. Eau Noir, pardon me, is one that was recently brought back, composed by Francis Kirkjohn. That one is also amazing. Now, this fragrance in particular, it opens up with that rosy agarwood combination. And what I love about this is that most rose oud fragrances are very dark, very rich, very spicy, and they all kind of smell alike. Now, this one with that pleasant touch of saffron, which again is not listed in the note breakdown, but I'm smelling it, gives it a really nice personality. You do have the patchouli, the labdanum. The labdanum kind of adds this exotic, mysterious flair to the fragrance while also adding a touch of sweetness. That's what separates labdanum from other resins, whether we're talking about copal or benzoin or galbanum. Benzoin is slightly smoky and medicinal, galbanum is green, so on and so forth. Frankincense or olibanum has this pine-like aroma. Labdanum has a sweetness to it. So you do get the sweetness in conjunction with the saffron, and it's so funny because there's so much saffron in this one. And I didn't see it in the note breakdown. So you get a lot of saffron, kind of gives it like this leathery, agarwood, patchouli, and rose vibe. And this fragrance is really beautifully done. The thing that I think is different from the Christian Dior fragrance that I alluded to earlier in this one is that in the case of the Christian Dior, I do get cedarwood. And the reason I say that is because for me, cedarwood is a bit on the peppery side of things. So it kind of has that peppery personality. In this fragrance, I don't necessarily get that. In terms of the spice, the direction that it leans in is really the saffron. So I'm getting a lot of that exotic, spicy, leather-like saffron vibe that's in here, but I'm not getting a whole lot of cedarwood. If anything, I'm getting more of like a sandalwood vibe, which kind of adds like this creamy smoothness to the fragrance. So this one is actually a lot smoother than the Christian Dior. So again, I think it's just going to be a matter of personal preference. If you are familiar with the Christian Dior fragrance, I think you might actually want to sample this one to see if you prefer a bit of a spicier expression, or I should say a bit of a woodier or more peppery expression, or if you want something that is, generally speaking, a bit smoother, easier to wear, equally long lasting, by the way. I think both of the fragrances are very, very long lasting, and this one I actually got about 11 or 12 hours from. Like, I sprayed it on in the morning, and I think I did like 6 or 7 sprays, and that was way too much. Like, I could have gotten away with like 3 sprays, 4 max. So please be cautioned. These fragrances are incredibly long lasting, and even just off this test strip, it is radiating. I mean, it's quite strong. So Blend Oud is a brand that definitely has a reputation for really long lasting, really powerful fragrances. So thank you for watching. If you like Oud Ispahan, check this one out. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I can't necessarily say that this is the most unique fragrance on the market, but it does do things differently from Oud Ispahan by Christian Dior. So that fragrance is a little bit more on the spicy side of things. This is a little bit more on the smooth, sandalwood, less peppery side of things. So definitely try it for yourself. Just as much saffron, really nice agarwood ingredient. The rose is really pleasant as well. Not overly done, not overly floral or anything like that. I personally love the smell, but of course, this is one of the darker fragrances that the brand has to offer. It's not a mass appealing fragrance like Dior Homme Cologne or something like that, right? So, or Sauvage for that matter. Try it for yourself. See if you like it. In terms of the longevity, 12 hours, this is an incredibly long-lasting fragrance. 3 or 4 sprays will last you the whole day. Projection projected way beyond an arm's length for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It became an elbow's length scent right around hour 7 or 8. A skin scent right around hour 12. As a matter of fact, I'm lying. I kind of stopped counting towards the tail end of the longevity, so I don't even know. I think this one is probably going to last you way beyond 12 hours until you wash it off, and then in which case you're going to have to scrub pretty hard. Versatility on this one, I think great for the winter time. I think it might even be too heavy for the autumn for some people. So try it for yourself. Great for the colder weather. Perfectly unisex. Definitely will appeal to somebody who's a little bit older with more experience with niche fragrances. Definitely a formal occasion scent. The presentation for this one is very good. I really do enjoy the bottle, the metal plaque, the presentation, the engraving on the cap, everything about it. My final verdict on this fragrance is, despite the fact that it's not the most unique fragrance on the market, the price is great when compared to other niche caliber fragrances of its kind. The longevity is superb. The quality is amazing. And with Max Aroma, you have the opportunity to sample the fragrance. This way you don't have to worry about, pulling the trigger on a full-size bottle, which unfortunately is the case with a lot of fragrances and a lot of brands out there. But this one is one that can definitely be sampled. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Also hit the bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload these future reviews, top 10 lists, giveaways, so on and so forth. And give this video a thumbs up if you learned something today, or if I spoke about a fragrance you've never heard of before. I would really appreciate it. It would really mean a lot to me. Thanks for watching. Love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.